Wait for a minute. Good morning, participants. Welcome to the session. Um, Yesterday, I started with how to define functions in Python, and continuing on that only, I will be telling you what are the different types of arguments that we can define in a function. So, in the last session, we discussed how we can define the function. So, the basic syntax, or let me first tell you, like we can see there are two types of functions in Python. One is the inbuilt functions and the user-defined functions. To define the user-defined functions, we need to follow some particular syntax, that is def, that is a keyword, def space the function name, and in the brackets we need to pass the parameters if we have, and then the colon. This is the first statement that we need to write, and then after the colon we define the body of the function, which is optional. If you do not have any body, that means you do not have any definition for a function, then just write the keyword pass. If you have, then define the body with an indented space. Then we talked about some examples, how we can use the functions and how we can define the functions. And one particular thing, that in functions, every argument is passed as a reference variable. It is not passed as a value. Means to say that if we make any change inside a function to the past variable or to the argument, the change will be reflected outside the function also. But this is possible if the variable that we have passed is a mutable variable. If it is an immutable variable, then there will be no change outside the function. Uh, then uh, Today I will be talking about different types of function arguments that are there available in Python. So generally, function arguments can be of four types. First one is like the required arguments. Then the keyword types of arguments, default arguments, variable length arguments. So first thing first, what are required arguments? Required arguments are the arguments that we need to pass on if we have defined, or we can say we have given some set of parameters while defining the function definition. Like here, I have defined a function print_info where I have defined during the definition of the function if name and age has two parameters. Now, whenever I will call this function, I need to pass the, I need to give some values to these parameters. If I do not pass any value, then there will be an error. Like if I show
Excuse me,
you,
sir.
hello,
Excuse me, sir. Screen is not visible.
I'm sorry,
Screen is not visible, sir.
screen is not visible. Um, so let me reconnect again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, hello, hello, sir. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Um, okay, now, sir, are you able to see the window, the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So I was, yeah. So I was talking about the required arguments. Um, if basically what are required arguments? Required arguments are these set of parameters, set of arguments that we need to pass on while calling a function. Like here we have defined a print info function where during the definition I have defined two parameters. So whenever I need to call this, I need to pass two values to this. Now I would if I wouldn't have passed any or defined any parameter in this parameter list, then there is no need to pass any argument. So if I basically like show you this example and do some experiment with them. Suppose this is a definition of a function. Now let's call this function where like first I'm passing a number and then I'm passing some like value. So now if I pass these two values, the type of value that I pass to the name variable will be defined automatically according to that, and age has been defined as a string variable. Now it has got printed. Suppose if I pass only single value and skip the next argument, then there will be an error. Why? Because for this function, for this that is print info function, the requirement or the number of arguments that need to be passed are two. So if we skip one of the arguments, it will not work. Now suppose if I would have written something like this, suppose like this was my function, I have defined no argument in my uh, parameter parameter list, and I have just printed a single print statement. And now if I call this without any parameter, this again, and now you can see the output I have retrieved. But suppose if I would have some value, then it has shown me an error. So depending upon the number of parameters that we have defined during the definition of function, we need to pass that many arguments while calling that function. If we have defined no parameter, then no argument is required. If we have defined one argument, then we need to pass only one argument. So that is the required argument type. Now the next one is the keyword argument. Now this is a special kind of a function definition or a function argument that where we basically whenever we are like in the sorry whenever we are passing the values or whenever we are passing the parameter arguments to a function, then we can define which argument is assigned to which parameter. Like if I continue comma printing the name, and the second parameter of this function definition is printing the. Now for this way, then the output is like the name has got printed as 29 and printed as Rahul. Now depending upon the type of value, the age and the name parameter are converted to that type. If you want to restrict that the 29 value should correspond to age only and Rahul should correspond to name only, irrespective of the placement or irrespective of the order in which we pass the our sorry, irrespective of the order in which we pass. Then we can make use of keyword argument. That is, like here, if I write age equals to 29 while calling the argument, while calling the function, if I define in this way that the age parameter should attain the value 29 and name parameter should attain the value Rahul. So in the definition, the first argument is name and the second argument is age. But while calling the same function, I'm first defining the value of age and then defining the value of Rahul. Now, because of this particular use of keyword argument, I am able to give Rahul or I am able to assign Rahul to name only and age and 29 that and I am able to assign 29 age. The output is now Rahul age has got printed as 29 irrespective of the order in which you pass your argument. So that's the offer. That particular argument should be passed. Argument Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Please share the screen. Sir.
Yes.
It's visible. Sir.
So is it visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
So thank you, sir. I was talking about the default arguments, and I was running an example where I consider the same print info function where I pass two arguments name and age has been given some value while defining the function definition, that is 35. So if we assign any particular value while defining the function or while declaring the function, then that particular parameter is termed as a default argument. Now the function or the usability of this is that if we do not pass any value while calling this function for this particular parameter, the the function will consider the default value of that argument and perform the and run the and execute the function. We pass a value while calling this function, then the Python will basically override the default value and use the value that has been passed by the user to that function. So like if I basically run this and I'm passing here, I'm calling the print info function with just a single argument that is Rahul. And if I run this, the result is name is Rahul and age is 35. As I have not defined any value for second argument. That's why it was 35. Now I'm again calling the same function, but this time I'm defining the value for the age parameter. Now what it will do, it will basically 29 will override the 35, or basically 29 will get assigned to the age. So now the result is 29. So this also basically gives us the flexibility where we have a certain constraint where we are not gives us the advantage that if we do not have if the user is ambiguous about the type of parameter values that may be assigned while calling a function, then default arguments are the most preferable function types. The last thing is the variable length arguments. Variable length arguments basically corresponds to the basic corresponds to the concept where we can and define the number of parameters of a function definition infinite. Suppose depending upon the type number of values that we pass while calling that function, the number of parameters will get automatically defined for that function. If we pass two arguments, then the number of parameters for the function definition will be 2. If the number of arguments are 10, then automatically the function definition will now have 10 parameters, uh, 10 parameters for itself. And to do so, we basically use a special syntax that is star and star and then the parameter name. Like here, I have defined uh, arg1. Arg1 is a simple parameter. The second parameter is a variable length parameter. And to denote that parameter, we use a syntax, or we can use a special symbol that is star. So in this particular function definition, we have two variables. One is normal argument or normal parameter. The second is a variable length parameter. And the name of the variable length parameter is var tuple. And to use var tuple, basically it is a kind of a list that we, or you can say basically, uh, this is a kind of an array in C++ or C. In Python, it is a list. So whichever value we pass, we can use that the way we use a list while fetching the values from a while fetching the values and printing them and using them in our code. So let me show you this. Suppose I use the same example and let's name it as var1. Let's print the name and then print. Now basically here we are using a loop to fetch the values from a list and print them. So I'm basically what I'm doing here. I'm fetching the uh, each value from the list var1 and printing them here. Now suppose let me execute this now. If I pass this same value, the result is name is Rahul and the value is 29. Now suppose if I pass I 30 morning. If I run this, then Rahul will be assigned to the name variable and the remaining arguments will be assigned to the var1 variable automatically. So now you can see Rahul has printed as corresponding to the name variable and 29 hi, 30 and good morning all were assigned to the var1 variable, and by using the for loop I have printed them. Now suppose if I basically use this kind of a syntax, that is I make a single parameter of my function definition, that is start var1. Now what will happen? Will all the values will get assigned to the var1, or some set of values will get assigned to our var1 variable? Let's see. If I first run this definition and then execute this definition, then you can see then all the values that have been passed to the function as an argument were assigned to the var1 as a list, and that we have printed here as Rahul 29 hi 30 good morning. So this is where var length arguments are more gives us more flexibility as compared to your default parameters, or you can say keyword parameters. So by using the var length arguments, you can the user is not restricted to the number of arguments that he or she needs to pass to a function. So next thing, scope of a variable I have already talked about by while explaining the call by reference concept. So like here's an example which says that there are four codes. One is this one is this one is this one, and one is this one. Which out of these four codes will print the output as 2 and 3? Remember, here 2 and 3 are basically 2 and 3 are basically assigned to x. X is a variable which is an immutable kind of a data type. So immutable kind of data types do not get changed outside a function. If we make any change within a function, the change will get printed, but outside the function there will be no change. So by using that concept, you can basically figure out if you run these four codes, and the answer of this particular scenario is the fourth one, because here the definition is like when we assign x as one value, then we give some values to function. Sorry, we define two functions, function one and function two. Uh, in function one, we are basically defining x as a global variable, or you can say basically we are writing a statement global x. So basically this statement says that the global variable, sorry, the x that is a global variable should be used inside this function definition. So means whenever like a global x means to see say that now the value that will get updated in the global x, not in the internal or the local copy of the x. So whatever change you make now after defining the statement will get reflected outside the function also. In the second function, that is func2, is also doing the same thing. It is writing first statement as global x. That means inside the function we will be using the x variable that has been defined, or that is a the variable x, that is global variable, will be used inside this function definition, and we are updating the x as 3. Now globally this change will be reflected, means that uh, the now the x will be, if we print outside func2 function, will get printed as 3. So first we call f1 function. So our global variable x has got changed to 2. So when we print the value x, the output is 2. And when we again call the f12 function, then it will change the global variable x as 3. And when we call the x value outside this function, it will get print as 3. The concept of mutability and immutability doesn't work here, because we have used a particular statement, that is globally. If we have not used this statement, then the concept that I talked about of mutability and immutability will work. I hope this is very much clear. Now the next thing is uh, lambda function. A lambda function is a kind of a syntax of defining a function that has been taken from the uh, from the JavaScript programming language. Uh, Basically, if we have a single line function definition, then instead of defining function something like this, which we can use a lambda function to define a function, to define, or to basically to define the to declare the function. The Generally, the lambda functions are termed as anonymous functions. That means we do not give any particular name to while defining the while using the lambda functions. Like here, I have defined a function of adding two in a parameter, that is x and y. So the definition basically goes like lambda, then the arguments is x and y, colon, and then the body of the function is x plus y, and whatever will be the output will get stored in a. So now this, whenever I now to call this particular lambda function, the syntax goes like, we call the output variable a and pass the argument. So here we have not defined any function name. We have just written lambda. So that means a Python compiler will automatically understand that whatever coming after the lambda will be the arguments, and then after the colon will be the function definition. So whenever we call this, so let me show you here. If I like just copy this or paste it here and execute it, and now R two and three, answer is 5. Right? So now the function name, you can say, is in this particular definition is a. Right? As such, it is an anonymous function. There is no function name, but to understand or to basically relate it with this particular function definition, we can say here a is acting as a function name, and that's why we have used a, and then in the brackets we have passed arguments. Now the next thing is modules. What are modules? Modules are like some predefined libraries that we have in Python that we can use to perform some particular functions. And Python is popularly because of this functionality only, that is modules only. Like we have a number of modules, and popular some of the popular Python modules are NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, TensorFlow, like you name any particular library of Python, that is a module. So what's the difference between a module and a simple program. Generally, modules are predefined, or a user can also define its own module, but the content of a module file is always a set of functions that is provided to uh, that is provided to perform some uh, generic tasks. Like if you want to basically make a calculator, then we can make a module named as calculator, and then we can define all the functions of add, subtract, division, multiplication within that file, and then we can import that particular file in our program and just call the add, subtract, or multiply or division operator in our program without redefining the functions or body of those function definitions. So the core part of Python is the usability of modules. And by default, Python comes with whenever we install Python, there are some predefined modules that do get installed, like your NumPy, Matplotlib, depending upon the source from where you are importing downloading the Python. If you are downloading Python from python.org, then as such, no module is external module gets imported. The basic modules that gets imported by default is random, math, and some basic libraries. But if you're importing from Anaconda website, then the NumPy, Matplotlib, and Data Pandas, they do get pre-installed while installing the Python. So Python libraries are the core functionalities of Python, and they make the task of a user very easy. So the to import a particular module or a library, there are four ways, four syntax that we can use in a Python program. The first syntax is import space library name. So like here I am importing the math library, so I have written import math. Now the this whenever I need to use a particular functionality of this library, I need to write the library name dot and then the function name. Like here, I'm using the pi value. So to use the pi value, which is predefined in the math library, I need to write the statement math dot pi. The second option that we have is to give an alternative name to our library. Like here, I have given M as an alternative name to our imported library math. So the syntax goes like import space math space as space M. So M is an alternative name for the imported library. The benefit of using or giving the alternative name is that whenever we are calling a particular function of the imported library, instead of writing the function library name, we can use the alternative name. Like here, I am using the math instead of math. I am using m.py. So this will basically mean that import the pi value from the math library. The third functionality that we also the third syntax that we have in Python to import a particular library uh, is from space library name space import space function name. Like here, basically this syntax corresponds corresponds to the criteria when we want to import just a single function from the entire library. So, like whenever you have a scenario where you just need to use a particular function of a particular library, then it's better to use this particular syntax. Like here, I am importing the pi value from the math library. So I wrote from math import pi. So this way only pi value will get imported into my working environment instead of the entire math library. And the second benefit that I will have is whenever I need to use the pi, I just need to name the function. I do not need to write the library name and dot. So like here, I just printed the value of pi instead of any prefix. The fourth syntax is similar to the third syntax, that is from maths import pi. Instead of this, we just write the star. Now star basically, like, the statement goes like from math import star. The benefit of this, or the basically the difference between this and the third option, was whenever we write star, this means that all the functionalities of a particular library get imported into a working environment. So, according to the statement from math import star, it will say that import all the functionalities of the math library into the working environment. And but to use a particular function of the imported library, I can follow the same syntax that I was following the third option. That is, I just need to name the function name instead of using any prefix. So, like if I show you here, import math in I use prefix, if I print the value, it is 3.12. Now if I write import as m, it's the same. Now if I, instead of this, if I use import from math import star, if I use this, if I use this, has got printed. Now if I use for square root, actually let me rerun the environment, because previously I ran the from math import star, so automatically all the functions of the math library has been got imported into my working environment. So that's why this time it is running. So if I basically just restart my kernel. Now if I basically run this statement, it will give me an error because by functionality has not been imported into my working environment. I have imported just a square root function. So this is the benefit, or this is the benefit of using the from syntax or the import syntax. So any questions till this point? Is any query? Because that's it for today. Uh, in the next session, that is tomorrow, I will be talking about the I will be talking about your file handling in Python. If you have any query regarding the functions or import or import statement,
Participants, if you have any query, please ask in chat box. I will know any query.
um, sir, I don't think like anyone has a doubt. So
I think no any query, sir.
No query? Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
And thank you, participants. And today, evening session has been preponed. Now that evening session will be at 4 p.m. instead of 5:30. So please be on time. And reminder is the timing is 4 p.m. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.